Welcome to Haunt Topic Radio, the podcast for haunters by haunters. These are our scary visions.
That's one of the beautiful things about lighting, especially, is the way you can use it to draw people's attention to things, and by doing so, draw them away from the things you don't want them to look at.
Oh, exactly.
Right. Yep.
So it's simple stuff, but it works so well. It really is, and that's one of the things we've constantly learned over the years. Is the more we learn, the more we go back to fundamentals.
Hello, haunters. Welcome back to HaunTopic Radio. Summertime is coming, and so are the haunt projects. It's about time for me to go out to the warehouse and start building and decorating and tweaking the Dead Factory for next year. You guys live in Missouri? We're located in Mexico, Missouri. Come on out and check us out. We'll be running through the whole month of October. Oh yeah. So what do you want to do when you're out there in the warehouse or in the garage working on stuff? You want to listen to music. You want to listen to podcasts. Podcasts like this, HaunTopic Radio. Well, we've decided to make a list of top podcasts that you guys will benefit from as haunters. First, we get the crew on from HauntWeekly.com. Jonathan and Crystal from Haunt Weekly do a kind of a 1 hour podcast that dives deep into one topic in the haunted attraction industry. They've covered scare acting, copywriting, decorating, garage haunting, managing your crew, and those all their past shows can be found on HauntWeekly.com. You can type Haunt Weekly into your favorite podcasting app and Haunt Weekly will be pulled up. In our interview, we get talking about the subjects of copyright and trademarks and using those in the haunted attraction business. We talk about scare acting, themes and backstories, some of the haunted attractions they've been through, home haunting, of course, their podcast, Haunt Weekly. So make sure you listen to that interview along the way. We'll throw in some stuff with The Night Keep, some tunes from their CD Heretica, and a story at the very end. If you missed the rest of the story, go back and listen to our recent podcasts. And to run down the lists of our next top 10 haunted attraction podcasts. These are in no particular order. Each podcast is good in their own form, and I believe everyone can learn a little bit of something from each of these shows. Now, of course, Haunt Weekly, since we interviewed Jonathan and Crystal in this podcast. Haunted Attractions Podcast. You can go to Haunted Attractions Network for all their podcasts and shows. The Big Scary Show, Frequent Fear Podcast, Hauntcast, Haunters Hangout, Scarehouse Podcast, Fright Radio, My Haunt Life, Scare Track. Those are the top 10. We have some honorable mentions. They also cover a little more horror-based stuff. Haunt and Halloween as well. Nightmare 365, Haunted Radio, and Relic Radio. Now, don't worry about writing these down. You can visit a list of these and a link to their website at HauntTopic.com/Haunted Attraction Podcasts. If you just go to HauntTopic.com, that will be the most current episode. And we're in May 2016. So sit back and relax to this episode of HaunTopic Radio. Hope you enjoy our interview with Jonathan and Crystal from HauntWeekly.com. Who do we have out there tonight? Is it Jonathan and Crystal?
Yes.
Yes.
From Haunt Weekly and Garbage Horror and our day jobs.
Yes.
And also Bernie Baxter's Traveling Sideshow here in New Orleans, our large-scale home haunt that we're hoping to take pro in 2017 if all the stars align.
Excellent. But you guys, it's important that you keep podcasting too. So,
Oh, absolutely. That's why we named it. That's why we named it Haunt Weekly. It's like, well, we had the domain for like 4 years, and so it was like we need to do a podcast about haunted attractions. It's Haunt Weekly, and shut up, I'm not buying their domain. That's the name.
Yeah.
And we're doing it weekly because it's in the name. That's how that decision was made.
Decisions you've made in your youth that come back to haunt you now. Damn, we got
Yeah,
to
we
do
were
it.
going to do. Yeah, I think it was originally going to be like a craft thing, wasn't it?
It was originally going to be a project a week
Like
for
for
haunters.
haunting, yeah, craft
for
thing,
home
yeah.
haunters, basically.
And yeah, after a few trials, it was just too much.
Nope.
So we sat on it, but kept the domain, and I'm glad we did.
Excellent. Well, we're glad to have you guys in the Haunt universe, and I was very glad to meet the two of you at HauntCon.
Yeah, that was really
That was a
cool.
great surprise. That was really cool.
Yeah.
So, Daryl, what class did you take of Jonathan's?
I didn't actually take Jonathan's class, but Jonathan,
Boo.
let the world know what class you did. I apologize.
It's all right.
I didn't either. Sorry.
It's all
That's
right.
it.
I did copyright and trademark for haunters was my class.
And that has a little bit to do with the day job, the not
Yeah.
haunted stuff, right?
Yeah, I work. My day job is a copyright and plagiarism consultant. I work. My blog is at Plagiarism
Did
Today.
you steal that title?
What? Which
The
title?
copyright and plagiarism?
Actually, no. I kind of wish there were others out there, but there's not. So every time I
Okay.
mention what I do, I have to go on a 5-minute rant explaining it. I feel like if there's like one other person out there who did it, it might be easier. But yeah, basically, I'm not a lawyer, but I work with attorneys and I work with my clients to help resolve copyright and plagiarism issues, whether it's determining content originality, getting content removed from the internet, finding bad actors on the internet, whatever. A variety of non-litigious remedies.
So, when it comes to haunting, how big is that in the haunt industry?
It's pretty big. I mean, and a lot of it depends upon the haunt. There's a lot of haunts out there who make very heavy use of copyrighted characters. I've been to plenty of haunts of various sizes where Freddy and Jason make appearances regularly,
Yes.
and one that actually put the flipping Jason mask on their T-shirts. And it's like, yeah, dude, that's like all kinds of infringement.
Yeah.
If we could find a way to make this a patent infringement, you'd hit Yahtzee, intellectual property Yahtzee. But yeah, so it's a pretty big deal from the standpoint of haunts don't want to infringe other people. That includes characters, movies, anything like that. But also in the sense, when it comes to music too, haunts run into this all the time. They'll be playing music in the haunt, and they might get a notification they don't have license or permission to do that. And in fact, that's one of the reasons why we have groups like Midnight Syndicate in this industry who specifically license their music for use in haunted attraction.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Right.
But
how about when it comes to like haunt names and around the country? I've seen people that have had lawsuits and had
Yeah.
to change their names.
Yeah, it's actually pretty interesting. The haunt trademark deals with confusion in the marketplace. And what that means can be varied, but the distance between two haunts has a lot to do with it. Like there have been cases where haunts, like you said, that were a short distance apart, got into conflicts, and one had to change their name. But, there's, I believe, 26 haunts called Chamber of Horrors in the U.S. So it's obvious you can have haunts that share the same name without creating that kind of conflict. It's just a matter of whether they are in the same or similar market.
Right.
But then again, another element is a lot of haunt names tend to be more descriptive in nature. The Haunted Trail, the Chamber of Horrors, we'll go back to that one. And those descriptive marks don't have as strong a protection as a mark that's more unique, which is one of the reasons why when we named ours, we did it, Bernie Baxter's Traveling Sideshow. It's completely meaningless without us, determining and promoting and marketing it. So that has a higher...
Exactly. Now, if you had somebody else that had a Bernie Baxter character in their haunt and decided to start promoting that, then you have some recourse because that's a unique name as opposed to Field of Screams or Chamber of Horrors or...
Exactly, and that was the exact problem Field of Screams ran into in their case against Field of Screams. I think it was Pennsylvania versus Massachusetts.
Yeah, it was a 2.5-hour drive from one another.
Yeah,
Something like that.
Yeah, it was a very short drive between the two, and that lawsuit ended up being dropped pretty unceremoniously after legal bills started racking up, which is what happens in these lawsuits, unfortunately, and they can put a haunt under with legal bills if nothing else.
So what would happen in a case like that? Did they call it like the Pennsylvania Field of Screams or throw a city name in front of it, or did they just completely drop it altogether?
They basically just dropped it all together, and the result is there's two Field of Screams within about 3 hours of one another now in that area. And one of the reasons it was interesting was the second Field of Screams, the one in Massachusetts, actually was supporting like a baseball, I'm trying to remember what it was. It was like a sports pavilion type thing.
Right.
And the result of that was they actually were creating a Field of Screams. So it's a fairly descriptive mark, and that was one of the issues that was going to have to be hammered out. It wasn't worth it from a trademark standpoint. But if you you name your haunt Friday the 13th, expect to have, movie studio up your butt pretty quick, basically.
Yeah, I can imagine that would cause a little grief.
Yeah, but I'm always amazed because we go through haunts, and like one of the reasons, like so many haunts, like Rise here in Southeast Louisiana does this, will play clips from Night of the Living Dead. It's because Night of the Living Dead is public domain.
That's right.
It's free. They can do it. But apparently at HauntCon, they went through one of the haunts they went through a tour on. I was not on this tour, so I did not get to throw my temper tantrum. They were showing clips of like Friday the 13th and, Halloween and stuff. And basically pretty much begging for movie industry lawyers to come pay them a visit.
Yeah. Because it's doubtful that the average haunt has the funds to register or to obtain the license to use that in front of a crowd, because you're basically broadcasting a movie, so you've got to have the ability to show that where you're doing it, get the license and make remuneration from it.
And one of the issues is there's not a license to be had because Universal has their own haunted park which features those characters. Yeah. They create their own park. They're not going to license it to someone else. Not, especially not cheaply and remotely, like affordably. So, yeah, I don't think there's a license to be had in a lot of these cases.
When is pushing the envelope as like, using one character in your haunt or like a whole like Jason themed attraction or something like that? Is there a fine line there, or should you just stay away from it altogether?
My advice generally is to stay away from it altogether. A, because it's legally dubious, but also because it kind of takes you out of the haunt. You know what I mean? I don't know about you guys, but I'm through a haunt, I see Freddy or Jason or something. I'm like, oh, there's Freddy. Hey, buddy.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, hey, bud, how's it going? Give him thumbs up as I walk. It takes me out of the moment. But also, Leonard Pickle in one of his talks talked about how he ran afoul of this. He created an entire Jason-based attraction, I think it was. It was Jason Voorhees. And basically he had fat Jasons, he had skinny Jasons, he had female Jasons. Every character was a Jason. And the movie studio showed up and goes, no, just no. No. You're not doing this. And so he learned his lesson there. But yeah, he had been incorporating like a character here and there. So there is definitely some difference there and there's some leeway, but I definitely would just stay away from it personally, A, because of legal dubiousness, and B, because, man, be creative. This is a creative industry.
Oh, exactly. And there are character actors out there. And that was actually one of the seminars we saw about how, creating a character and making it your own and taking your actors to that next level. And I think that's much better for the average haunt, is to actually have something unique, something that you can market.
Yeah, and not only that, but like you were saying about the characters that you recognize. If you have someone that you don't recognize, you don't know what their cues are. You don't know how they're going to react, or what they're going to do.
You mean you could surprise one of your customers?
Oh, no.
Something different?
We would never do that in this industry. We are totally against surprising anybody at any time.
Well, I do think that it's only a small, other than, maybe like the garage haunts and some of the home haunts and stuff, anybody that's trying to go to the professional side of things, I think the majority of them are actually creating their own characters and staying away from the potential problems. I think for the most part, is...
Yeah, for me, what I've seen, mostly it's the upstarts and the smaller haunts. A lot of the home haunts get really creative on their characters. Home haunts either get totally unoriginal or really creative, it seems. There's no in between there, it seems.
Yeah.
But with as you get to the upper tiers, the bigger problems get away from characters because they want to promote their own stuff. They want to have it gets more toward, movie clips and music clips and public performance issues than it does characters. And I still see some fairly big, fairly smart haunts getting tapped on the shoulder over music licensing and things like that. So.
And it's easy enough to do your own music, whether you hire a musician or use somebody like Midnight Syndicate or somewhere in between. There are Creative Commons. There is stuff that's available, for public use. Sometimes it means you might have to put a few things of your own together, but there are also people out there who are willing to do that for a reasonable fee that can make your haunt very unique.
Yeah, the reality of it is you have two choices. One is you can do your own music, or you can, secondly, license other music, obtain and license music. And you can find music that's openly licensed that you can just run with and go. Or you can, if you want to use popular music, just simply get your licenses from ASCAP, BMI, and CSAC. It's not that much money for a haunted attraction, and put the issue to bed. Just never worry about it. Play whatever music you
just
feel.
A general question then, in regards to licensing some of that music, is it based on volume of listeners, or how many times it's played, or how?
It is based upon average foot traffic per year, which for a seasonal attraction actually is going to be fairly low.
Yeah, and in fact, in your talk, someone said that they actually got slapped on the wrist and had to purchase the licenses, and it was like $18.
I think he said it was 18. He either said it was 18 or 80. I couldn't hear him.
I thought it
but
was
either
18.
Either way, it's like, really?
Yeah, I think it was 18.
I think they spend more on the damn mailer to him.
Wow.
But you know,
okay, so
it can be very, very cheap to license it, and it really doesn't take that much money or time, and it'll let you play. If you do all three, ASCAP, BMI, and CSAC, do all three, you can pretty much play any popular song.
Right, and the reason is because they have different libraries of music, and that's why you want to get all three, or figure out which one, what you're wanting to play in.
Yeah, if you got like just one song you want to play, if you got that like the one Rob Zombie song that's just your jam, it's got to be in your haunt. You can just get the organization that licenses it, and Godspeed.
Have you guys done a podcast on this then?
No, that's actually on the to-do list. We're going.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
We have a long. When we launched our podcast, we opened a Google Doc, and basically we're just like, okay, we're gonna type ideas into this Google Doc, and like 8 pages later, we're like, I think we got enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it sounds like you make a good webinar too, Daryl.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, that might be
Copyright.
that might be
trademarks.
something that put together a webinar. And
I do have the video for my talk along with the slides and the handout on my site for free if anyone wants to check that out.
There you go.
And
where they find that?
It's at Plagiarism Today, PLAGIARISM Today, all one word, .com, and it just search for Haunter and it'll be the first thing to come up. A little search box should take you straight there.
Excellent. Well, we can link that in the
Yeah,
notes of the podcast.
what I'll do is I'll shoot you guys a direct link to it after we get off this podcast.
Excellent.
All right. So tell us a little more about the haunting side. How did you guys get started in this garage?
Well,
we actually got started in 2005. We were at a different location.
Yeah, it was
here in New Orleans. Something happened in 2005 in August.
Yeah, don't know if y'all might have heard about it. It was Hurricane Scarina.
Yeah.
It'll come to me in a minute.
Anyway, so after Hurricane Katrina, none of the haunted houses were open. None of the attractions at all. Nothing for families. Nothing for kids to do. And so we wanted to do something.
Yeah, but just something, anything. And we were living in a house with like effectively no front yard.
Yeah.
But we wanted to do what we could, and so we designed and built our first drop panel.
Yes.
And we blacked in the entire yard area. It didn't take that long or that much.
No.
The porch. And basically, we set off this way, way too heavy drop panel right next off a hollow concrete porch, right next to people coming up for trick or treating, and it was a blast. We ended up, I think, we didn't do much flyering or anything.
No.
But we still had over 400 people come by that one night. And
Wow.
it was still not anywhere near fully populated.
Right.
And so had them lined up and down the block. It was great seeing the kids laugh, and I still don't think they found some of those kids that really went running. I mean, there's a couple. I think they just swam down the river a ways. But yeah, so we loved it, and we've been haunty people, both of us, before then.
Right.
We acted in a Boy Scout haunt in South Carolina. Mm-hmm. Loved that. I had been doing home haunting stuff ever since I was 12 with my parents. Mm-hmm. Just informal stuff in the yard and scaring the heck out of trick-or-treaters and so forth. But, that was the genesis of our haunt we do now. And when we moved to our new house in 2007, was like we had two stipulations. It's got to have a huge garage, and it's got to be somewhere near a school.
Yep.
And the real estate agent's like, you don't have kids. I don't care. That's not the point. You were totally misconstruing the reason for this.
Yeah.
Trick or treaters.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so yeah, we started building that, and we're kind of weird among a lot of home haunts. We build as if we're building to fire code compliance. We build solid construction.
Mm-hmm.
We do everything like any other haunt would.
Yeah.
Well, you're just
Originals.
practicing for a full-fledged haunt. That's
Exactly.
all.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Basically, that's the way we look at it.
Yeah. So we're masters of panel construction.
Yeah.
Which is insanely useful.
Come up
Yeah.
with a brand new, unique scare every year to put in.
All great startups start in the garage, right?
Yep.
No.
I don't think this is what Bill Gates had in mind, though.
Or Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs, yes,
Yeah.
him too. Yes. Yeah.
But whatever, that's our dream, hopefully.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
they had their own dreams. Sure, they're billionaires and everything, but we enlighten people, and that's worth tens of dollars.
Yes.
I always say if you want to learn about your relationship with anyone, go through a haunt with them.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure we have caused more than our shares of breakups and divorces over the years.
Yeah.
I know the haunt that I worked at last year, there was a few people that, they were using their girlfriends as meat shields and
Yeah.
sticking them out in front of the scary things. And
Yes.
the one, he lifted her out in front of a scarecrow, and she just turned around and looked at the scarecrow and said, "He's yours. I'm effing done. I'm out." And the poor actor doing the scarecrow, he just about lost it because he was trying not to break character.
Yeah.
He could hook up later.
That is funny as hell.
Yeah. Yeah. We had
Got a lot of relationships too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we had similar experiences. Like it's always like the biggest dudes who do that to their women that put them in front of the actors. Who sacrifice them. It's like, really?
Though we had a lights out night on our haunt this year, and guy was in the front with a light stick, because we give a group of 6 one light stick, and he was kind of checking out to see if I was real or whatever, and I reached up and tried to knock the light stick out of his hand, and his girlfriend was behind him, and she basically threw a taekwondo punch into my chest. She realized after she threw it that it was not a big thing to, not a good thing to do, to punch the actors. So she didn't hit me very hard, but it was forceful enough that she touched me.
Yeah.
And the guy's standing back, and she's the one that's ready to beat the shit out of me if I approach any closer. And it's like, oh wow, that was kind of neat.
Unexpected result.
Yes, but hey, don't go dicking around at the act.
No.
No.
Do you want more Halloween haunted house and haunter goodness? Do you want the new episodes of HaunTopic Radio delivered straight to your inbox? Do you want it all for free? Go to HauntTopic.com/subscribe. Give us your email address and we will start sending you some treats without the tricks. Get your Halloween and haunted house fix at HauntTopic.com/subscribe.
You guys use actors in your haunt?
Yes, we have a crew of about a dozen.
Yeah, we are mainly actor supported. We don't use a lot of animatronics.
You know, we talk about we're masters of 2x4 technology.
And gravity.
2x4 and gravity are our friends. And if it can be built with those items, we will build it. It's that simple.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're very, very actor driven, and we like it that way. Just because I always find that actors, especially ones that can read how the scare works best, those actors will get way, way better results than any animatronic. Animatronics look cool and are cool, but man, actors are what really gets the startle.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, like I was been listening to your guys' podcast, and I just listened to the one with the scare acting one.
Yeah.
Talking about the distraction and and that's why we use animatronics the way we do, is in the distraction
Exactly,
also.
yeah.
Right. Yeah, I think our best distraction to date, actually, and this is giving away a little bit, but we had one of our actors provided us with a projector with the ghost projection.
Mm-hmm.
And so we put it onto our disappearing wall. It is a wall that is white that the projector is on, and then the wall is not there and the actor is.
Oh,
Nice.
Yeah, basically it's it's like basically a screen, but it's all just held up by a quick release, and the whole screen can come down in a heartbeat with an actor behind it.
You can decorate it to look like anything.
And you can make it, paint it and look like anything, light it,
Yep.
and it's a beautiful, beautiful gag. And I remember I was outside. I remember
Right.
hearing about it. Sometimes being in front of house sucks. Is what I'm saying.
yeah, I've been there.
Yeah.
But people would they were getting right up on it, and Mike, who was operating, would let them be really studying this 3D projection ghost, and whoosh, right there he is.
Yeah.
So is it like one of the movie projector film things that's got a
Yeah.
quick release on it, or
No, the film
it's
thing.
painted?
It's a sheet, actually. We actually use cloth for this.
Yeah, it's
Um,
folds of fabric
It's
that
a
I
ball-
decorate in different ways to match the scene to
Yeah, and
hide it.
Attach one end to a rod or a 2x4, depending upon the slide you've got, and just hold it up with a quick release. We actually use a long-handled screwdriver because it works.
Yeah.
Like I said, Master's on a budget, too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, you're just making a giant cloth drop panel.
Yeah.
Basically.
I got
And you hide the
you.
actor behind it, yep. And
It'll also work for shooting the projector at your drop panels.
yeah.
So instead of having it just a picture or a piece of a wall, you've got the movement there already to draw the eye.
Yeah.
And then drop panel
Yeah.
drops and your actor's there.
Yeah, and that's one of the beautiful things about lighting, especially, is the way you can use it to draw people's attention to things, and by doing so, draw them away from the things you don't want them to look at.
Oh, exactly.
Right. Yeah.
So it's simple stuff, but it works so well. It really is, and that's one of the things we've constantly learned over the years is the more we learn, the more we go back to fundamentals.
Yeah.
Right. Back to basics.
Everything we learn, it's like that's cool, but it's hard to beat the good old fashioned distract to startle or lighting or sound. You know what I mean? It's the basics really seem to be where it's at for the best of impact.
Yeah.
Got that shiny object syndrome, right?
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, look, magicians have been doing it for hundreds and hundreds of years. We're
Yes.
just taking some of their, distraction and illusions and turning it into a little more horrific world. We might not be quite as elaborate as some of their tricks, and most of the time, I don't think most of the haunts are cutting people in half and then attaching them back together and making it look like an illusion. They're cutting people in half and letting the blood, guts, and gore spill all over the place
Right.
for a totally different type of effect. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
doing those illusions and getting the people outside of themselves and making them believe it is what we need to do and what we do, right?
Yeah, I
Right.
believe so, yeah. And we also have the benefit of controlling the stage, too, which is a
Mhm.
huge asset. We're not just, on a stage in front of a crowd. We actually control the environment.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So that's a huge asset to us.
Though it is something difficult to manage because sometimes the crowd, when they're moving around, don't do things that you expect,
No.
which is why it's good
Yeah.
to have good actors and
Yeah.
not just props. props.
Well, I mean,
Right.
like I remember one haunt. We volunteer at haunts when we get a chance, basically.
Yeah.
And one haunt I volunteered. I had a closet scene that was way too long. It was like 40 feet long, ridiculously long. And basically, the best way I found to scare people was just to throw in a black morph suit. Once again, going back to basics, get into the closet and get in behind the group and like ruffle the clothing and let them know someone was in with them, and they'd freak out and sometimes run away. But sometimes people would move too quickly. Sometimes they'd move too slowly. Things would go wrong. Well, I remember one group, and we knew from the actors all calling back to the back of the haunt, there was a group of 6. And I let the group go in, slip in behind them. They're moving way quick through this closet. They're barreling through it, so I have no chance of catching them. So I sidestep into a side hallway that was hidden, and I dart down to the end of it. The end of it was completely blacked out. So my black morph suit, I blended in perfectly. I just found a dark corner, especially a dark corner, and hid there. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to read the situation and figure out what to do. And I expected them to go around the corner and just keep moving into the next scene, and I would just get the end of the group. But they stopped. The group came out, stopped, and it was a mom and 5 kids. And the mom goes, okay, is everybody here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Crystal was in the next room. I'm on the floor laughing when they bolt out. Crystal comes in the next room. What the hell did you do to them?
They thought they were safe.
It's funny little things like that.
Yeah, it's the moments like that that make us haunters keep working.
People coming through the
That's
haunted
right.
house and they tell you it's, what exactly you're going to do. It's just kind of funny because we've had, a group of 3 or 4 people come in and they would say something about, as they're going through it, they mention somebody's name and you can hear them in the next room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, then it's really fun because you can do something and it's like, or somebody mentions that it's like, wow, Marcy, you're lucky that we haven't seen any clowns yet because we know how afraid of clowns you are. I don't
That's a great
know
friend.
whether Marcy was actually afraid of clowns or they were just trying to set her up or they were just pranking her, but
Right.
it's really funny what people say about other people in their group, and it's like as actors you pick up on that and use it.
Yeah, that's actually part of our line actor, because we do have a line actor outside. Part of his job is to get as many names as he can and tell us who's coming in and when, so that we can, whisper it and mess with the people going through.
Yeah.
It's always fascinating. People hate when other people they don't know their name.
Yeah.
It's just deeply unsettling. And I mean, like, I have to put up with it fairly regularly because I'll go to conferences and so forth. Not necessarily like HauntCon, but I'll go to like copyright events or tech events.
Right.
And people have been reading my stuff. People know me through my day job. And they're like, Jonathan! I'm like, who the hell are you?
Yeah.
It's unsettling, but at the same... But
smile and shake their hand. It's
exactly.
Yeah.
But,
it's like, if we're at a haunted house, there's odds are we might get recognized because it's happened.
Yeah, it actually happened when we toured the Insanitarium.
Yeah.
The haunt reviews we did on Garbage Horror apparently were pretty popular in Alabama. I had no idea. Even though we never did a Alabama haunt before. We only did Southeast Louisiana, Mississippi.
Right.
Well, Louisiana, Mississippi. We did some North Louisiana. And we did St. Louis.
This year.
This year. But yeah, it's
people knew who you are at the Insanitarium?
Yep.
Yeah.
Some people did, yes.
Yeah.
And it's like the guy letting us in.
Chris Screws.
Chris Screws,
You've done an interview with him, I believe.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he recognized us, and yeah, he's a cool dude. He's really, really cool. They're a good group there, man. They're a really fun haunt there. I really like their style.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the Sanitarium, and I really had fun at Warehouse 31 and at the Horror on 3000. Was it Horror on 3008?
Yeah, 3008. Yeah, I think it was Terror 3000. It was one of those. 3008 was the number, and I remember not being able to figure out why that number had significance.
Yeah, until you pull up and realize that's the address. But
that makes sense.
That's good. Okay. Should have thought of that.
There was some things that I liked about it, and some things that I was maybe a little critical of. But on the way out, they asked me some opinion, and I said, hey, this could have been a little better. like some of the lighting in the outdoor haunt, because it was pitch freaking dark. It was dark, but there was stuff that I enjoyed at their haunt, and some stuff that I was a little critical of. But all three of them, I think, did a really good job for doing an off-season haunt. It was good. I guess, what was it? Warehouse 31 was available on the pre-haunt tour, and some of the people went to it, and it's like, oh, okay, well, it looks kind of good. It didn't have that super detail and stuff that some haunts have, but the actors more than made up for it. Both the ones in the 3D section and the ones in the regular haunt, Rigor Mortis. Wow, they have a great cadre of actors, because there was a few times that I jumped myself. So
yeah, that's one thing I've noticed in going to a lot of haunts is, a haunt with great actors can survive some build issues and can survive some physical issues. I mean, we saw that at what was it in Monroe?
I knew you were gonna.
I know you knew I was going to do it. And we always forget the name of this haunt. But yeah, there was a haunt in Monroe, Louisiana. We went to, and I remember going through it thinking, well, the build was not spectacular, but the actors were incredible.
Right.
And we couldn't figure out. And then we did our review of it and put it online. And the owner of a haunted theme park that used to be there, called the Edge of Madness, is like, yeah, we actually have a really great haunt actor community in Monroe, because we were open for 12 years and we had to do hundreds of actors every year and train them. So you've got, thousands of well-trained haunt actors looking for work in Monroe. So
now that's something that you can get around. The build might not be quite there, but the actors are good. The other way around doesn't work so well. If you put, hundreds and hundreds of hours and you have terrible actors, you still don't have a great haunt.
Yeah, we've been to ones like that too, and you're completely right. That just doesn't work.
If you're going to spend $100 on decorating a room, or sitting down and buying pizza for your actors and training them on how to be better, sit down with your actors over pizza, and that's a much better way to spend $100.
I
agree completely.
I agree, yeah. And and also I would also throw out that you have to give your actors something to do. One of the common mistakes I see is haunts might have great actors, but it's like you walk into the room, the actor's in the room, and now the actor's supposed to scare me as I'm going through the room. Mm-hmm. It's like there's nothing for them to do, nothing for them to play with. Have tools for them to use, and they kind of handicap even the best actor is going to struggle with that.
Yeah.
Give more than one spot to hang out in.
Yeah.
Different areas.
Different, things to bang on, different places to pop out at. And like I said, there's some variety. Let them experiment. Let them do different things. They've got to figure out how the room works. No one figures out how the room works on the first scare.
Don't just be in a straight jacket in the middle of the room.
Yeah.
Every time.
No, really?
We actually
You mean
saw that.
with the arms actually fastened in the back? Though I've met some actors that I would like to do. But
that's a little different. That's a different problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. We like you. But
we like using those rattle cans for actors that don't, they really don't want to interact with anybody.
Yeah.
So we'll take the tin cans with the bolts inside of them.
Yeah.
And let them use that for a startle.
Yeah, it's super simple, super easy. I've seen also gas canisters used for that.
Yeah.
Right.
They have a good handle on it.
Yeah, there is a danger of overusing those.
But yeah.
Oh, definitely.
With some, but yeah, for some actors, it's probably the absolute best thing because, there are some actors, there's just no teaching.
Yeah.
They love it, they want to do it, and God bless them. I love having them in my haunt because we need all the help we can get. But still, you've got to work around their inability, their lack of talent.
Right. Yeah. Try to find their strengths and.
Yeah, exactly, and
build them up.
Over years, and that's the other thing is if you have actors that are coming back year after year after year, which we are lucky enough to have, you A, can learn their strengths, and B, you can work with them and build those strengths up over time.
Exactly.
And even start designing things for them.
Yeah, let them be involved in their costume and their character, and let them help out.
Right, that's what I typically like to do because it also means that they're more likely to show up if they know that you are building them a scene, specifically for them and a character for them and things for them to do that they helped create, then they're more likely to be loyal and show up every night.
They're more invested in that
season.
Character and
exactly.
And
they've got skin in the game. Yeah.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes literally.
Yeah, this is the only
I'd have
industry
to
we're saying
see it.
skin in the game might not be the best metaphor.
It was the name of that haunted house, Evil Visions?
Yes, that was it. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I found it too. Yeah.
Monroe.
Yeah, and admittedly, we have not been in like the past couple of years.
Yeah.
So they may have completely stepped up the build game. We think we were there the first year they were open.
I thought it was the 4th.
It was still fairly early in their run.
Yeah.
But,
So
that's something that you can work on if you've got the great actors, and then you can work on some of the other things.
Yeah, you've got 11 months out of the year to work on the build. If you got a permanent location, you've got 11 months. So Godspeed, you'll be fine.
Though I'm all for making sure that your actors get together and know each other and bounce things off each other throughout the year, right? Especially if you got a core group, because they can help train the noobs and stuff. But if you get your core group together, a few times a year just for picnic or go sledding in the winter or skating or whatever, just get together and do your thing with the actors and get them more involved with each other. And that camaraderie between actors, I think, is usually pretty good. There's occasionally a bad seat or something, but it ramps it up. It ramps all of them up, and they all get better. So
right.
Well, one thing we found helped us with the camaraderie is we have a closed Facebook group for just our actors.
Yeah, so do we.
And that is great, because if any of them has anything going on in their life, they can post it, they can share it. If they got an idea, they can post it and share it. And it's Facebook's is great for certain things, and this is one of them.
Right, and in the industry we call them, haunt families, because that's what they are. They're your family. So treat them well, let them hang out.
Well, for our haunt here at Edmonton Haunted House, we've got both an alumni crew and then the new crew, and many of those new people, which was an open group, have transitioned over to be part of the alumni team now. So they've kind of graduated from being the noobs to now being some of the seniors, and they get special access to this closed group. So I hope that it's beneficial to them, because we talk about things, and sometimes you post the same thing in both anyways.
Yeah.
But then there's new actors, and that's the one we farm out when we are looking for more actors for this year, or that sort of thing.
Right.
Great. Yeah, it's a great idea.
Yeah, it's much better than college alumni where they just call you and ask for money.
Sound a little bitter there, Crystal.
They don't have my number yet.
Okay.
They like harassing me, though.
Yes, they do.
I don't know how they found me, but by God, they found me.
Well, so you guys have done a bunch of podcasts with Haunt Weekly. What are some of the other topics that you guys have done?
Let's see. Well, we started off talking. One of the things we were very big on with our haunt, I think every haunt should be huge on, is haunt safety. So that was literally our first real episode, was haunt safety.
Yeah, because going back to how unpredictable your customers can be, you have to take safety into account a lot.
Really? Unpredictable?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, we learned years ago that if you don't want people to do something, you have to make it physically impossible for them to do it, basically.
Just have your chainsaw guy wear a cup.
Yeah.
That works.
Yeah.
Speaking from experience, Brian?
Kind of. Our chainsaw guy got racked last year.
Oh.
It was bad.
Yeah.
My question is, who has the testicular fortitude to go up to the chainsaw guy and kick him?
Well, she had a reaction where she jumped back and she lifted her foot up at the same time, and he just so happened to be in that general vicinity.
Gotcha.
He was on the ground for about 10 minutes. Yeah, we had a...
You gotta take a water break.
Chainsaw down.
Luckily, we had two of them, so all right, go take a break, cool down.
Give him an ice pack.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah, we also did one on basic haunt construction. And we've been trying to do like a mix of like basic stuff and more complicated stuff. Like we talked about price differentiation. I actually my background is actually, believe it or not, my major is in advertising. So marketing related stuff is a huge interest to me, and price differentiation, like VIP lines and so forth, are of huge interest to me in studying that. And we also try to cover once every 4 episodes, we do a news podcast, which there's like a monthly roundup of all the news on haunted attractions attractions that month that's been going on.
That we can find.
Yeah.
So.
Now all these episodes can be pulled up on HauntWeekly.com.
Yep. Every single one.
You guys are also on iTunes and Stitcher.
Yep, iTunes, Stitcher. Yeah, we haven't been, like I said, I think we said when we met you, we haven't been promoting heavily yet. We wanted to get sort of a catalog of back episodes, but now we're getting to the point that, we're looking to get it out there and get the ball rolling more.
Well, I can recommend folks that are listening to our podcast, go and listen to Jonathan and Crystal and their podcast. And I imagine, seeing as you said you guys have an 8-page backlog, what are possibly some of the future podcasts that might be coming out to titillate some of our listeners?
Well, we definitely want to do the copyright and related stuff that we talked about earlier. That's got to come up sooner rather than later, now I'm realizing.
Yeah, we learned at HauntCon that there are a lot of questions out there about the issue.
Yeah, so we're definitely going to ramp that one up and move that further up the till. I want to do more marketing-related ones. I want to talk more about different types of promotion, how much to spend on marketing, and marketing approaches that work, especially for those on a budget. Because I see a lot of haunts, I've worked at haunts that have done this, that have thrown their entire marketing budget, a fairly sizable budget, at like one thing, and then been absolutely blown away when no one showed up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And they say it didn't work because they didn't do it right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, you could have diversified and, a little bit, your efforts a little bit. So yeah, we definitely want to talk more about marketing related stuff. We have Crystal's been wanting to do one on lighting for some time, a detailed lighting oriented one, in particular looking at like LED lighting and the correct methods for lighting a haunt, to both set up the distraction and also for visibility and safety.
Right, because I'm not a fan of black walls and dark scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess that's coming from the safety aspect of things. Black walls and dark scenes work really well if you want to, injure people.
Injure people.
Yes.
You're in a dark out maze.
Well, it's not only that, but I mean, if I take the time to detail a scene out, then I want people to be able to see the details.
Yeah,
exactly.
And that was like something that was kind of frustrating at the Abyss in St. Louis. Going through it, we could tell they had detailed out a lot of the scenes. Yeah. We couldn't see them though.
Not at all.
Right.
Not at all.
And you can change up your haunt year to year just by changing your lighting.
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
You really can. Yeah.
Yeah, we actually invested in some of the color changing LEDs, so you can pick what color they are.
Yeah.
And we've been using those. And
in most of the rooms, just because with a remote control we can change the whole
color, feel of it.
The whole feel of the room like that. It's really, really convenient.
Yeah.
To be able to walk through a haunt. We have to do the one about haunted attraction websites.
Yes.
God, that one's got to be done sooner rather than later. Our industry is falling way behind the times there. Yeah. Oh my God, that's a category 5. We got to do that.
We've both been building websites
for longer than we've been haunting. So
yeah.
Well, didn't you guys do episode 6 haunted attraction websites?
Yeah, well, we need to do one specific. Yeah, we did one about the basics, but we need to do one specifically targeted at payment systems and online ticketing too.
Right.
We need to do a follow up to that because that's a big deal that I see getting. I mean, they had Haunt Pay at HauntCon, which this is going to get very difficult to say very quickly. But as interesting of an idea as I think it is, I've noticed that we have some ugly habits when it comes to online ticketing in this industry, and one of them is passing along all the costs we can to the customer directly. Even though online customers, by every study, spend way more than in-person customers. And sometimes, you sell online tickets and people don't show up.
Yeah.
So, there's no real need to pass these things on to a customer. Also, I know Crystal never attended this, but I want to do one personally talking about alien encounters at Disney World. I don't know if either of you ever went through that.
No.
Oh, that was the only time I can ever recall being truly, to my core, scared at a haunted attraction.
Oh,
wow.
Actual, honest-to-God terror. And it's not there anymore, unfortunately. They recast it as something like Lilo and Stitch related now, but they toned it way, way down because people were getting too scared. Because if this haunt dude is going, oh my God, the whole time through it. Imagine what the poor little old ladies are doing. But
what was it called again?
Alien Encounters.
Alien Encounters.
Alien
at Disney
Encounters,
World.
yeah. It was basically the concept was you were going in to this large it was a theater in the round type thing, and you were going to witness the first ever instance of teleportation, and it was in Tomorrowland at Disney World, and the idea was something went wrong with the teleportation. Instead of having the marketing dude get beamed in, they beamed in this giant 12-foot winged clawed flesh-eating alien, and you see the hologram of him for like a minute, and then the lights go out, and then it's total darkness in here, and you hear him stomping around. You feel his breath on your neck. It was even like 20 plus years later, I'm still mortified of it.
Oh, I wish I would have
awesome.
seen that, because that's.
I wish I would have gone to it. Yeah.
So yeah,
So,
that's.
are you guys replicating that in your garage?
We should try. We should totally try, but no.
Do
I
it.
don't think we have Disney's budget on that.
But you
man.
just have to call it something.
Get you good
else. You just can't
subwoofer.
Call it Alien Encounters.
Yeah.
Because they come and kick you in the ass.
It would be a great way to do a line queue for like VIP guests to set up something like that before they go into the actual haunt.
Yeah, like a waiting room type thing to hold them.
Mm.
That could be interesting.
Well, you
Yeah,
got the
it
gears turning here, boy. Oh.
So I was thinking about making a mad scientist room and using some really big, the low decibel speakers. I know I got some house speakers that have a lot of bass in them. I'm just going to set a tone to it, a soundtrack, and have him talking.
Yeah.
And then having that whole room just different speakers with my surround system, and having his voice shoot back and forth. And I was going to try something like that, but I haven't done that yet.
That could be cool, and have like little lights that look like they're, going haywire, and then it all goes dark or something, and then you hear him
Right.
kind of panicking, and then the door could open and the guide could say, "Quick, this way."
Yeah, you can play a lot
Right.
with surround sound, and there's
Yeah.
a lot that I know. I've done some light tinkering with it, but never gotten anything put into practice in a haunt. So it'd be a cool thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another thing we want to talk about is this new era of extreme haunts like McCamey Manor and Blackout.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. What do you think about them?
I don't see how they're ever going to be a viable business, personally.
No.
I know McCamey Manor is not, but quite by design. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, our industry is increasingly one built on volume. It's all about your throughput and your capacity, and these haunts have neither.
In fact, if it's not on the list, we should put throughput
And
and ideas.
capacity.
to put
But
on
it's
the
also
list.
it's also the same as there are still people out there that want something unique, want something that other people don't have. They want to drive the Rolls Royce, they want to drive a Bentley, of which there's only 500 made, because they can, and they're willing to pay a bit more for it. So there's people out there that want to do those haunts.
and that's
Personally, not for me.
Yeah.
I like going to all sorts of haunts, paying the $20 ticket, where people are not touching me.
Right, where it's just fun. Well, and the thing is, like at McCamey Manor, he decides when it ends. So yeah, he can have 100% success rate of nobody
Ever completed.
finishing it, because he can just keep it going until they give in or get bored.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I mean, and it's all those types of extreme haunts. Like I said, there are people that it appeals to. There's a niche market there for it, no doubt.
Right.
It's just it's got to be pricey to go through it. And we learned about one haunt. What was that the guy at HauntCon? The one you talked to, huh?
The
Vault of Souls.
Vault of Souls.
Vault of
Thank
Souls,
you.
yes.
Yeah, that was actually a very interesting Rolls Royce kind of idea for a haunted attraction, I thought.
See, and it's not necessarily a haunt, because
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
creepy, and it's a whole interactive experience. And both he, Scott, and Deanna, I really want to go see it.
So do I.
Don't have the $100 or more to
Exactly.
to go experience it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
As you said, up to $500 a ticket, but they got their own private bar and their own private lounge room, and
Problem is,
but they were in the market for that, where they could draw that kind of customer.
Right.
Yeah,
problem
and
is
that's
Sorry.
definitely something that might be available in one area, might run well in one area, but it might not run in the middle of Montana.
No.
Was he Jacksonville?
I think
Florida?
it was somewhere in Florida. Yeah, I don't remember Jacksonville, and I think it might have been. But yeah, it makes sense in a place like that. Now my issue is if you charge me, $500 and give me an open bar, I call that a challenge.
You gotta get your money's worth.
I'm getting that money
Gold
back.
crown. You gotta eat up.
Let's see, other things I pulled up our list so I could sort of skim through it. Another one we want to talk about is I loosely entitled this one The Death of the Middle Class Haunt. How it seems like increasingly the mid-tier haunts are struggling more and more and more. All the haunts are either the big mega haunts or the upstart charity haunts or the smaller haunts. And that middle tier of haunts is making a good living, but it's not the House of Shock, or whatever, or the original Field of Screams or whatever. Those haunts are struggling more and more. I think a lot of it has to do with fire codes and just the way the industry is sort of shaking out.
Yeah, I think it's evolving too fast.
I don't know if it's evolving too fast. I think.
Or is it the customer's perceptions saying, I want more, evolving too fast?
Yeah, that may be some of it. And it's kind of weird because we have a few the smaller to mid-sized haunts in this area, and a few come up every year, but they never seem to stick around. A lot of it is, I just think that even though people who go to haunts go to multiple haunts, they have a certain level of expectation for what's going to be in that haunt, and it's not something that can be met necessarily by a $12 to $15 haunt.
Well, and I think also it is a market availability, because if you're a mom with kids and you want to take them to their first haunt, you're going to go to one of the charity haunts. You're going to go to one of the cheaper ones just in case, they can't finish it or they're too scared or they don't like it,
Yeah.
But the people who can afford to go to the middle and higher tier haunts, those are going to be your teenagers with money and your adults. And they're going to say, well, let's go to the biggest, baddest one there is.
Yeah.
Whatever their perception of that is.
Right.
And so, we've got, and I'm looking through the list, we've also got a slew of actor-related ones, including kid actors, actor recruitment,
training,
things like that, actor training. Yeah, but kid actors are one we talk about, child actors are ones we talk about a lot.
Yeah.
Both here and elsewhere, because...
So child labor, you're opposed to it. Okay.
You would be surprised how many haunts have kids.
Even like the house.
I know. And the
Yeah.
little ones are so creepy.
Yeah, and that's just it. They're creepy, and that's what kind of frustrates me a little bit. Is I've been in haunts that tried to use kids not in creep roles, but in actual scare roles. So it comes around the corner and there's this little 6-year-old with a machete, and it's like and I'm like, dude, I could stomp you.
Yeah.
I'll just lift my left leg up high enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't work. If you're going to use kids, always keep them near their parents. Always keep them, near or an adult responsible for them, and put them in the roles that kids are good at. They're really good at uncanny valley stuff because they're kind of like weird little people as it is. They're kind of uncanny valley just by being kids.
Yeah.
They're like people but not.
And how many kids do you guys have that are
None,
not really kids?
personally. Be grateful. No.
Oh.
You know what I mean? But the point is that they're really good at being creepy, and it's like I remember the 13th Gate once. We were in a scene, and a little girl, child actor, comes up to us, and Crystal and I are just doing our usual banter, going through haunts, talking about what we're seeing, and she just walks up to us and goes, "Shh." And we shut the hell up, because if a little girl walks up to you and says, "Shh," you shh. There's no dialogue about it. So yeah, kids can be very effective, but it's got to be used right.
Yeah, exactly.
The best scene that I remember doing when we were out in an outdoor trail, and I was a grave digger, and I had about 7 girls. They were probably from the ages of 8 to 12. And they all had black capes on, and they had their backs toward the audience, so everything was kind of lit up in that area, but you couldn't see, and that outside that perimeter was all dark, and that's where they were at, in black hoods.
Right.
And I would stand up and I did my little thing, and I would say something like, "Have you seen my girls?" And I would slam the shovel on the ground, and they would all just turn around, and their face were all painted white and black eyes, and they just started closing in on the people, and they had no idea where the hell to go. But it was just cool because some of them would talk, and some of them would say stuff, and some of them would be quiet. But yeah, they're all creepy. They're all about 4 foot, 4 or 5 foot, they're all hunched over and falling on the ground, but
that's a really good use.
I've seen some creepy kids in haunted attractions before.
Yeah, this past year at Waterloo Haunted
Trail in Illinois.
Haunted Trail, Sportsman's Paradise kind of thing. They actually had several kids, all in black morph suits, line up behind an adult actor so that his shadow split.
Oh.
So it's like, you see one dude in front of you, or in front of you because you're looking at him, and then all of a sudden, the first 2 kids pop out, now he's 3, and then those 2 kids pop out, and 5, and
Wow.
Dude.
Yeah.
Right.
Whatever I'm on, I need to do less of it. I mean,
yeah. And put a strobe light in there somewhere.
Oh man, but yeah, that was a very, very clever. That haunted trail really was impressive.
Yeah.
It was
a lot of fun.
That was a lot of fun. They've been at it 26 years.
Wow.
26 years.
Where was that at?
Waterloo, Illinois. It's in southeast Illinois. It's a very, very small town. They have a sportsman club, and to pay for trail upkeep and all that, they do a haunted trail every year, and it's great. It's a knockdown haunt, which surprised the heck out of me in places. I don't know how the hell they do it that quick.
In fact, they're closed Halloween because they have to get ready to open for hunting season.
Wow.
Okay.
So you guys traveled around the country to different places, or?
Up until last year, we were primarily Louisiana
and some Mississippi, but
we're trying to branch out more. Like next year, we plan on hitting Alabama
and maybe West Texas too if we can.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we've got friends out in like Lafayette, Louisiana, going out toward going out all along I-10 there. So we've got places we want to go out there if we can. But yeah, we do try to travel as much as we can because as much as I love the haunts here in South Southeast Louisiana, and God, we have some great ones. It's all you get such different perspectives too, because I think the type of haunted house you get is in part the subject of the culture of the area.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
And I mean, and it's very interesting. I've never seen a New Orleans haunt do a New Orleans cemetery, but I have
Every
seen
other haunt
every other city we've been to has a New Orleans style cemetery in it.
Is it the allure of being in New Orleans cemetery because no one else is there? So maybe New Orleans.
I think that's some of it,
You know,
but also I think it's
yeah.
a really. I think haunts look at it as a great way to do a graveyard sequence. Because if you look at like a graveyard anywhere else in the world, or anywhere else in the country at least, you have headstones and benches, and that's about it. It's basically like a field with tiny stuff in it. There's nowhere for actors to hide. There's no, you know what I mean? There's not a lot to play with.
Yeah.
But
Right.
the New Orleans cemetery with its tombs and its mausoleums and
It's basically a small town.
it's basically a small town, and it becomes an actor's playground because actors can hide everywhere.
Well, part of it is because they're in New Orleans. Can you do a fake New Orleans cemetery as good as a real New Orleans cemetery? So maybe people have been there and they're going to pick it apart and realize you didn't dress it quite as well. But I was having a talk at HauntCon with somebody, and we were talking about escape rooms, and Vinny from Puzzle Props was there. Vinny from Puzzle Props was there, and we were talking. It's like, what would really be cool would be a Deliverance themed escape room. And they said, well, we're from Georgia. People are just going to come in and go, I thought this was supposed to be scary. This looks just like my backyard, right? So, okay, it's not going to work there, but you bring that to the Northeast or the Northwest or California, and it can be scary as hell, right?
Yeah. That's true. That's a good point. But I got Necropolis 13 in Baton Rouge is a New Orleans cemetery, style cemetery. They do it pretty good. There's some in the region that do make good use of it. But maybe that's a good point. Is that you have to be at least a little bit out of your element. I mean, in Baton, I guess where Meemaw's buried might not be the best place to theme a haunted attraction.
Yeah. Could be a few things there.
A little too close to home there.
Too close to home, a little too on point.
Before I wanted to find, I Googled that. The alien encounter thing, and I got to read this paragraph. I found it on the theme park tourist website. I guess they did an article on it. They were talking about it. Shattering glass, pitch black darkness, pulsing heartbeats, a guttural purring growl inches from your ear. Warm, thick drool drips against your neck. Wings beat against the stagnant, dusty air, thick with breathless horror. Sparks illuminate a twisted spider-like figure with gnashing fangs and horrible claws. Blood splatters down from the ceiling as you grip your harnesses in terror. This is the end.
I wish I could write like that. Damn.
Right? That
Just
was awesome.
the imagery that evoked. I hadn't seen
I think you might have
but I could-
plagiarized the beginning of the Maltese Falcon.
Oh, well, they're closed. You can't even call them on it anymore.
Exactly. But and that was one thing I really enjoyed about that attraction was that even though it was completely stationary, you never moved. Neither you nor the seat nor the room nor anything moved. They strapped you in like you were in a roller coaster with the full harness bar across your shoulders. And my favorite memory from it was I went with my family, but just on the other side of my mom, there was a very old lady with a wicker purse, and she'd set the wicker purse on her lap. And I remember as the alien was getting scarier and drooling, and the guy got eaten in the rafters and all the other stuff, she started rolling that purse up into her hands. The alien could have taken like 90% of her, but was not getting that purse. I guarantee that purse was going nowhere.
She needs something to hold on to, didn't she?
that whole strapping people in, that just removes their control of the situation. Whether you move them or not, by strapping them in, they've lost control.
Yes.
And that's Disney engineers and Imagineers are so good at doing that. They make you believe that you're not in control, even though everything it's like so incredibly safe and structured. And that might have been part of the structure too. So safety, because you couldn't get out of your seat and do things, run around.
Right, you couldn't panic.
You're not allowed to flee.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So
it was an incredible attraction.
I wonder if we could do that in a future haunt that one of us run, where you sit people down and strap them in, and then even just tilt them forward a little bit, do something, freak them out, but don't let them undo those seat belts until you press the button and they get triggered to unlock.
Right, yeah. Well, now that, it's easier to make pistons and controllers and,
Oh, man.
There might be something down the line. I mean, you can make an elevator.
Exactly, except one that you strap in.
Kind of like Tower of Terror, which in some ways was the original elevator. And Tower of Terror is another great attraction. I've actually watched a thing about how they simulate the effect of falling 13 stories when they only have a 6-story building. And the basic answer is they launch your ass straight down. That's the scientific term.
Right.
But another great attraction. But yeah.
Excellent. Well, let's let everybody recap here. Let's let everybody know where they can find you and when your shows come out, so that all of our listeners can actually listen to you guys as well.
Yes. Our podcast is Haunt Weekly at hauntweekly.com. We post every Sunday, roughly around 1 p.m. if all goes well. And, like I said, a new topic every 4 weeks. We cover the news. We have some haunted attraction related videos at garbagehorror.com. You can find us out there. Yep. There's so much to this industry. Yeah. If you run a haunt, you have to be a construction worker, an actor, you have to be a location scout, to be an
entrepreneur,
HR manager, entrepreneur, accountant. It's a million hats.
Yeah.
Marketer. Yeah, it gets crazy. So Godspeed to any crazy bastard that gets into this industry.
Start out in your garage.
Exactly. That's what we learned. And I'm glad we waited as long as we did to get started, because let's be honest, we sucked in the beginning. We're okay now. I think we're actually okay now, but
there's growing pains and everything, right?
Yes, there is. Anyways, you guys take care.
Thanks a lot.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Bye, Jonathan. Bye, Crystal.
We would like to thank Jonathan and Crystal from HauntWeekly.com, The Night Keep for letting us use their music, and Gothic Story from Heretica, and all of the cool podcasts out there. HaunTopic Radio has been around over 100 episodes. However, there are more podcasts. I'm sure if you have time to listen to one, you have time to listen to more. So go check out some of our friends out there in the podcasting world, and may you become a better haunter.
We found a room where once the prison keeper kept his watch. A tattered intake journal lay in a pool of grime and blood, but I could still read some of the entries. The guard had also scrawled along the margins, perhaps keeping his own notes.
I can't do this. I only wanted employment. It's not my fault my son could perform magic. Those bastards at the church are using my son's life against me.
I skipped to the end of the ledger. Scrolled along the margins. Of one page was written,
"Of all the lot, that poor boy Simon has it the worst. I've been ordered to deny him all food save for the foul meat that those blighted heretics bring me. The others... Gods be merciful. The ones that do not get sacrificed are turned, shackled to this place to roam endlessly at the beck and call of these heretics."
The notes gradually became more hurried, with more apprehension.
Simon has turned. Those evil bastards did it, whatever they were trying. He is no longer a boy. His body grows and his eyes have a feral look about them. The heretics are afraid of him, and they keep him locked down here with the other rejected children. I have seen them placing wards of protection at the exits and along the halls. I was told I would be given reprieve. My son lives. He is to be granted acceptance. He is to have a part in the choir. The gods may yet show favor to this poor wretch of a father.
The remainder of the ledger was illegible. I dropped the book onto the floor and gazed in abject despair at the darkened prisons. The sound of the animated dead filled my ears. My blood fell into a pit of my stomach. It was but a hideous mercy that the children were decayed, else I would surely recognize many, if not all of them. I would surely be damned for this.
This is the most vile evil I have ever encountered. Not even in the frontiers have I seen such an atrocity. And this is close to the holy city.
I have often wondered since then at what moment did I fall from grace. What crucial moment led to my heresy?
That very question is damning in and of itself. A willful acknowledgement of evil and the conscious act of defying goodness.
I had known of spells, of vile magic, but had never truly tapped their raw energies. As one of the gifted, I had always seen the magic surrounding the world. This time, however, my soul could not carry on having borne witness to such atrocity. I knew other spells, but had always refused them. My wife taught them to me, telling me to know them should the need arise. She always told me to fear the dark, however, to never use it, that the pull of the void was great and nigh impossible to refuse. I felt something quicken within me. My spirit reached through the veil and gazed at the outer realms. They had beckoned me to plunge my hand into the void between, to the realms of chaos. But I would not stain my soul. Thus, I spoke the words of a lesser cantrip I knew. Arcanum ignis! A small stirring of wind, and the children, their shackles, their bones, everything they had touched, set to flame. Their moans never changed, their bodies merely turning to ash.
Magic is evil, Prelate Encanthio. But I cannot say I would not have done the same, even to save poor Eustace.
Our reverie was destroyed as the colossal beast erupted from the hallway. The catacomb shook beneath its fury and we ran. The beast lunged, but our tight quarters allowed us a brief means to dodge, and the behemoth smashed into the stone walls. The ceiling began to tremble precariously, threatened to collapse. In the brief moment we had, we dashed past the beast into the hole it created.
Thank you for listening to HaunTopic Radio. Please leave a comment wherever you found this podcast. Each comment you leave will help spread the word to other haunters around the world. See you next time.
This show is part of the Haunted Attractions Podcast Network. Find all of our shows at hauntedattractionspodcast.com.